Hey guys, welcome to the ReelDVDWatches. This week is Horror Week. Basically, all week, everybody from the ReelDVDWatches is going to be reviewing a horror movie, or horror type movie, and I've decided to go with a 1980 slasher classic, I guess you could say. It's just been remade not long ago into a 3D movie. I'm talking about the original My Bloody Valentine. This is the Region 1 version because I'll get into it more later, but the Region 1 version is a lot different to the version that is released in the UK, and this version is kind of the definitive version at the moment of this movie. It's the Region 1 one, so it comes in this nice slip case, which you know is very special, and the actual film itself is originally when this movie came out in 1981, I think, it was really, really heavily cut, heavily censored, and there was a lot of footage cut out of this movie, and this version of the movie has all of that footage put back in. You can either watch the movie as it was originally shown in theatres, or you can watch it with the deleted footage put back in, so you can watch it separately or as part of the film. Now, the deleted footage, if you've seen Mad Puppet Death, she recently talked about this DVD in her update, and she was talking about how the deleted footage kind of has this grindhousey type look to it, and that's because obviously while the rest of the movie has been cleaned up and looking as good as it can possibly look, the deleted footage hasn't, so it's kind of got this grindhouse kind of feel to it. And I probably shouldn't be talking about the plot of the movie before I get into this, but I'll get into it anyway. The actual look of all the like really gory killings and all the gory deaths and stuff has this grindhouse effect to it, and it looks really good. It actually adds to the movie and makes them even more enjoyable to watch in a way. And also the fact that you can tell then which bits have been deleted just shows you how much of this movie was deleted. Now, the actual plot of the movie, obviously by the title, is to do with Valentine's Day. 20 years after a Valentine's Day tragedy, a small town prepares for its annual holiday dance. When a box of candy arrives containing an eerie warning and blood-soaked heart, the townsfolk realise that this Valentine's Day romance is as good as dead, and so are they. So it's basically, like I said, a slasher movie, but it's a bit different to a normal. A, it's set on Valentine's Day, and B, it's the kind of killer isn't a killer you've seen in a movie before. It's actually this guy with a gas mask with like all this minor gear on, and he's kind of quite a pretty badass, cool-looking slasher killer in one of these movies, which I thought was quite cool. You know, he's kind of like Jason, but just, I don't know, I think it's the gas mask. He just really, you know, looks really scary and really cool, and he has a really good movie. Basically, the main character of this movie is kind of your typical hero, I guess, in these sorts of movies. It's this guy he's recently been away. I don't think they actually tell you where he's been, but he's gone away from this village, this town, whatever, for a while, and he comes back and his girlfriend's with another guy, and he's jealous, and he's kind of this moody, brooding kind of main character, which you kind of expect from these movies. The rest of the cast are kind of your typical horror slasher movie cast as well. You've got like the stupid guy who's always making really not funny jokes, who when he actually does die you kind of laugh at that just because of the fact that he's so annoying. And this is actually a Canadian movie, which is really great. I really want to see Black Christmas as well, which they did on the podcast, which is also Canadian as well as this. But yeah, going back to the footage that was deleted, it's a real shame that it was to begin with, because the makeup and special effects in this movie are really good, especially for 1981. The fact that these were left out is really, in my opinion, is insulting to the people that made it. You know, they did an amazing job. There's one scene where most of the kills are done with a pickaxe, and this guy like gets the axe go through the bottom of his like sort of neck and out his eye. And when you see it actually, you know, on the thing, it's really impressive that they did it in that time. It's really great. And like I said, it's a real shame that it was cut out originally. But the fact that it's all put back in is awesome. If you choose to watch this movie without that footage, then you're really just not going to enjoy the movie as much, because when you realise what was cut out, even though I haven't seen this movie before, you know, this is the first time I saw the movie with the stuff put back in, I don't think I'd have liked it half as much without that stuff in, because a lot of the kills just wouldn't have made sense. You kind of see the attacker, and then it would have been cut. You wouldn't have seen what happened to them, and it's kind of bad, really, especially the ending. I was really shocked that part of the ending was actually cut out, so you wouldn't have really understood it as well. I guess you would have still understood it, but it makes far more sense with the stuff put back in. And the ending itself is really great. It's got a real great cliffhanger, which could have easily spawned tons and tons of sequels, but they never did, which is kind of strange. I could see this as being, you know, Friday the 13th type horror movie franchise, which would have been awesome, because, like I said, the killer in this movie is so kind of cool looking and so interesting that it would have been great to see him in more movies. I want to see the remake. I think it would be interesting to see what they do with that, whether they keep the same sort of thing, whether they keep the same ending, and also because it's in 3D, you know, which is cool. And yeah, so this is a good 80s slasher movie. If you're going to get it, get the Region 1. Don't bother otherwise. Well, you know, still do, but if you know, it's worth paying that extra bit to get the Region 1 if you live in the UK, or if you live in the US, then just get this one, because it's the best version to get. Struggling to pick a movie to review for this, I basically picked that one because I watched it this week, but also I want to do, this is my kind of top 5 movies that you may not have seen that really you should see, that have been out recently, and are good. That you should have seen or haven't seen that you should see that have been out recently. The first one is a UK movie which I watched not that long ago. It's Mum and Dad. It's a horror movie which is kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre cannibal crazy family type movie which abducts this girl who works at Heathrow Airport, where they sort of live. Heathrow Airport in the UK is kind of this big, kind of like the main airport in the UK, I guess you could say. And it's about this girl called Lena, she's a young Polish girl who gets abducted by a family. They kind of do all these horrible, torturous things for her. It's got these really disturbing scenes. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty gritty. It's got some really dark humour to it as well. The acting is really good. It's a very low-budget independent movie. It was released in cinemas, in downloads, on DVD, all in the same day. It was kind of this big project. It was paid for using like National Lottery money. It was picked up with this kind of... there was this kind of, I can't remember what it was called, some project was running or something, and they picked this movie up through that. It's a really great movie. I definitely recommend picking this one up. It's Mum and Dad. The next one I want to show you is one that you've probably all heard of. You might not necessarily have seen it, but it's Wreck. This movie is an amazing Spanish horror movie, kind of in the style of Blair Witch, Cloverfield, you know, the point of view kind of camera movies. This is in my opinion, I know a lot of people love Cloverfield, but I think this is better than Cloverfield, just because I really did find this movie very scary. It is very creepy. The ending especially is really shocking and very creepy. You know, it is, especially if you watch this really late at night in the dark as well. It's one of those movies to turn off all the lights and watch this one, because it's really creepy, it's really scary, and it's amazing. And I know there's a remake called Quarantine, which I'm going to check out, which is out on DVD in the UK in a couple of weeks. There's also a sequel coming out to this as well, which will be, you know, interesting to see. But Wreck, it's a subtitled Spanish movie that you should definitely check out if you're a fan. All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. It's kind of in a time where you'd expect more movies like this that are remakes. This is kind of a throwback to the 80s slasher movies like My Bloody Valentine, but it's kind of a homage to them rather than a remake. It's a homage to the types of movies that you know, are slasher movies and stuff. If that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of a throwback to those sorts of movies. It's really good. It's got some great twists in it. If you don't want to watch the movie, to watch the trailer, because the trailer for this movie is awesome. It's got some really great music on, but the movie itself is definitely worth checking out. And like I said, it's one that a lot of people overlooked, and yeah, I really liked it. If you've not seen it, you've probably heard of it. Again, it's Inside. This is a horror movie about a pregnant woman whose house is kind of a home invasion type horror movie, where a pregnant woman is attacked by this woman who's trying to cut the baby out of her stomach, it's really gory, it's really shocking, it's again really scary, a lot like Wreck. These two movies are the only movies that recently that I've watched that have actually, you know, really freaked me out, especially this one. I was watching it at night. There's a scene where the woman, she starts smoking a cigarette. It's really creepy, really scary scene. Like I said, it's really gory, and it's definitely one to check out. I loved it. More people should see this movie. I don't think it's been released in the UK yet, which sucks, but you can import the US, you know, region 1. So that's another French one. Like I said, it's Frontiers. This movie it's kind of, then again, like Mum and Dad, it's kind of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre cannibal family type movie, where the head of the family is like a Nazi. It's kind of a very complicated plot to begin with, kind of a complicated opening to the movie. It's to do with riots and things, and there's a group of people. One of the ladies in it is pregnant. They kind of escape to like a pub or something. Horror movies that I watched lately where I really did care for the main character. The main character is really just broken down, and when you see her taking on the people that have been just terrible to her, that have killed all her friends, you really are rooting for her, and she does a really great job in this. Also, this character on the front is amazing. You see, I've done a review of this movie like months ago, but yeah, you really see a horror, you know, different sides to the kind of cannibal family with this girl, because she's like the main character. She was also taken in, and it's just a really great movie. So Yeah, those are just a couple of movies that you may not have seen. I know I'm talking really fast, but I'm trying to get this into 10 minutes. But yeah, I hope the other guys don't mind me doing that, because I just found it so hard to pick one movie. I figured I'd chuck a load out that I'd seen recently or in the last year or so that I really enjoyed that you should check out. So check out any of these movies that I've shown today, any of these, and also I definitely recommend this one. This one for me gets a 7 out of 10.